She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies
Give me every little detail.
of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
Good morning, good life. Welcome back to Detail Therapy. It's a brand new year. We are officially kicking off season 8 of the show. So excited about this right now. In this episode, we're getting into the details about going after the life you want. How do you actually do it? The most important factor of the equation that makes it all work, determining what it is you actually want. How do you know what it is? What does it feel like? What is the thing that's going to move you into action? We're going to talk about jealousy, comparison, and all those negative feelings that make us a smaller version of ourselves. Let's talk about how you can emulate what successful people do to deal with those things, to spin it into a positive energy that changes your life. If you're new here, hello, my name is Amy Landino. Thank you so much for being here. I will be your host. I'm the founder of GATLU, which stands for Go After the Life You Want. We create resources for ambitious professionals like you who are ready to unleash their power, get unstuck, and create the life of their dreams. When you visit detailtherapy.online, you'll not only find videos, books, blog posts, and show notes for this podcast, but you can also get details about our new daily motivational podcast, which you can get instant access to when you join our premium community, Shine Squad. Just tap the notes in your podcast player for links to everything I mentioned, or again, you can visit detailtherapy.online. I just thought it would be really good to start things off this year getting back to basics. It's often we usually talk about goals and resolutions and making changes and yada, yada, yada. But when we get to the heart of the why, we really just need to get to center of what do we really want. The last couple of years have been pretty tumultuous. We may have lost sight of what's important. We might just be trying to figure out how to survive at this point. So to start the year and to start season 8, I just thought, let's unpack GATLU. What does GATLU actually mean? Most of you already know because I say it constantly. It's a word I made up, and if you were to read it on paper, it probably makes no sense to you and you're going to say it wrong. That's okay. If you know, you're in the community. That's all that matters, right? But GATLU just has 6 letters that stand for the phrase, go after the life you want. And we just, instead of using a Y for you, we use a U because why not? It looked more aesthetically pleasing to me. And I think it really drives home the point of GATLU in the first place, which is to focus on the most important factor of that equation, which is you. So yeah, that's the fun there. It's not just a cute phrase that we like to say. It's our answer to every question about what it means to create the life of your dreams. We come up with so many different things, so many different issues, so many different challenges, so many different worries, so many different obstacles. And at the end of the day, no matter how convoluted the answer is, to get you to stop thinking that way, what brings it all together is going after the life that you want, understanding what that really means. So let's break it down. First part of the phrase, go after. To me, this is an indication of looking only at what is in your control. When you go after something, it needs to be as productive as possible. And in order for that to be the case, it is something that you have the ability to move forward. This can be mental. This can be environmental. This can be action. It can be your reaction. Each of these things is important, and they either help or hinder you. but they are totally within your control. And how you handle each of them and how you reassess each of them, how you pivot each of them is what gives you the ability to go after whatever it is that you want. So emulate who you want to be the change you wish to see, go after it. The next part of the phrase, the life, go after the life. This is your one and only space of time in a human experience. This is it, guys. This is it, ladies. This is it, everybody. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is not a fire drill. This is the thing. This is the life. This is the only day of today that you'll ever get. This is the only second you'll get to decide what you're doing with your ears right now. You're listening to this podcast. That is a conscious decision you're making for this moment that is going to pass. Your life happens once. And some of us will live a very long life. Some of us have not been that fortunate and lived a very short life. What you do with what you're given, with what you're promised, which is pretty much just the moment that you happen to be breathing in at this second, is everything. So when you are going after something, it's not just hope for the future. It's so that we can be happy with how we're conducting ourselves with the time we are actually able to enjoy right now. And that's the life. That is the life. This is your life. And finally, the end of the phrase, you want. Go after the life you want. It's exactly what it sounds like, right? But it is nothing else. Go after the life you want. It's not what your parents want. It's not what your significant other wants, although hopefully you're on the same page because you authentically came together and were honest about who you are. But yeah, it's not about what anyone else wants. It's about what you want. Because if it's not, you're not going to be happy with the life. You're not going to wake up ready to take on the day. You're not going to be excited for what the future holds. If you never turn down the radio station of what other people think you should do, it's very hard to even be in touch with your own thoughts of what you want. This is why we crap on the social media scroll. Social media is amazing. If you think about what it has done to bring us together and to help us realize the grand potential that actually is possible for us, it's a absolutely incredible technology. But what happens is it ends up being used for the wrong reasons because of default thinking, because of negative mindset, because of scarcity. Instead of seeing possibility, we're seeing things that are not the case in our own life, which causes us to think that it's been taken away from us as an opportunity, that it is not available to us, that we weren't the first, that we weren't the best, that we weren't that person who got to do it and take that photo or make that video. There's nothing really wrong with the technology and the advancements and the amazing tools that we have unless we use them for the wrong reasons. So when we think about just that comparison that happens, and we think about, oh, our parents said we need to do this, we need to go to college, we need to go get this job, they're going to be happy if we have a 401k and a cushy chair. Okay, great. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. And then you've got everyone else that's okay. Everyone seems to be following a certain career path. Everyone seems to be having kids at a certain time. Everyone seems to be dating someone for at least 5 years before they get married, or everyone seems to be doing the opposite and getting married after 6 months. How are they finding their Prince Charming, or how are they finding their princess in the first 6 months? We consume ourselves trying to break down what someone else's life has been and what their process has been and what their decisions have been to try to make sense of our own. And they have nothing to do with you. Nothing. Not even the people who love you the most, who wish the best for you. They are going to come up with their best answers. And they're going to come up with their best assessment because they want to give you a direction, especially if you ask for it. but it doesn't actually mean that they're the expert. It doesn't actually mean they have a clue what you should be doing with your life. And if you can't line up your desires and your excitement and your passion for what it looks like for you to go after the life you want with what their expectations or thoughts or, breathing down your neck feels like, it's not going to work out and you're not going to have direction. We have to be able to turn that station to what it is, okay? And allow those opinions and comments to come in. Allow other people to live their best life in front of your eyes. And also be able to say, but I know what I want. And it's not that. And I know what I want and I'm willing to go after it. And I know what I want. So even the people that think they have the best idea for me, I need to figure it out on my own. And I'll take their thoughts, I'll take their ideas. Sometimes people are going to bring you great ideas and you're initially going to push them away. I do that a lot. I hear what someone's telling me and I'm like, man, they really know what they're talking about. But if I derail my focus just to do that thing they're telling me to do right now, I'm not going to see through what I've already been in touch with for myself, what I've decided for myself. It doesn't mean it's not unworthy. It doesn't mean it's not something we can care about later. It can't be everything. Let's say we're in a situation right now for you that you don't know what you want. How are we going to figure it out? What we already know is that you are ready to take action. We already know that. You're here, okay? You wouldn't be here listening to this podcast if that wasn't something that was true about you. In fact, you may have already started, or maybe you've navigated some things and you're still feeling unsure, but you need to drill down on what you actually want. And this comes down to your why. What is the vision for all of this? What is your why? When people talk about what your why is and understanding what that is, it's that you can see where you want to go down the road. You're not just looking at your feet down in front of you, although those steps are very important as well. And that's the day-to-day. But when you see 5, 10 years, you can look and go, God, that would be so cool. Like that is where I want to be. And that vision and that why and that land of where you will be and what your life will look like, it may not be super clear. It might be that like kind of fuzzy mirage, as we like to say, but the cartoons in the desert where the mirage of the pool of water that you're just dying to drink shows up. It may not be super crisp and clear to you, but you have a good idea of what it is. That's what we want to figure out for you, because you need to be able to see that every morning. What does your bank account look like with that vision? What does your morning look like when you wake up? What does your family life look like? What does your house look like? What does your happiness level look like? What does your face look like if you're living that best life? What do you know about yourself? And so drilling down, what is it? Why do I want to do these things? Because of the vision I see. Having that clarity is so important. And again, it might not be crystal clear. We don't know where we're going to be in 10 years. I'm not asking you to have a perfectly designed roadmap that you map quested. I love to say map quest, like we still use it, right? It's not going to be that simple. It's not going to be a straight line A to Z. But if we know which building we want to put our ladder against, at least we know every time we climb on a rung, one at a time, that we're headed in the right direction. It can always change. You have the permission to change your mind. But when you can wake up every day and at least know that it might be hard right now, it may be slow going right now, there may be a lot of other obstacles in my way, but I know where I'm headed. The direction will matter so much more when you know where you're headed. The thing about what you want is that it's really surprising. It might actually be staring you in the face. And you've maybe been running from it because it's not making you feel good yet. It's not making you feel good because you feel unworthy or less than because it hasn't happened for you yet. So you run away from it. Let's talk about what those negative tendencies are that make you do this. And then we're going to flip them on their head. We're going to take those negative tendencies that maybe have made you not feel good or excited about your vision or what you think your vision is, or the vision you're avoiding, the happiness you're avoiding, the goal you're avoiding because you think it's not possible. We're going to flip it on its head so that you can use that negative tendency for a positive. One negative tendency is comparison. Okay, we talk a lot about comparison. This is not a new problem. This is not a social media invention, okay? Keeping up with the Joneses has always been around. What your neighbor drives and what's in the driveway, and you think about that when you're like, whoa, how are they doing? How did they get that? This has been a thing for a long time, and it is 100% a huge problem right now because of the escalation of technology and access to information. It's a huge mental health problem in so many people. Huge. No one can escape this, okay? But instead of looking at it as someone has that car or someone has that opportunity or someone has that job or someone has that thing and it's been taken away from me, we need to decide that they have let us see the light by introducing it to us so that we might find it valuable. Okay? So I want you to think about comparison. Who do you compare yourself to? You don't compare yourself to every single person in the world. We may have a serious mental health issue with comparison, but it's only with a few select people doing a few select things, right? It's usually the same people. Are they friends? Are they family? Are they the people that show up at the top of your Instagram feed? Don't you love how social media is like, oh, we want you to feel good when you log into our app. And so we're going to put the same freaking faces at the top of the feed for you because you seem to enjoy them so much. But you've already gone into this negative spiral where that may not be the case for you. Here's what we're going to do with that, okay? With comparison, first step, when you feel that negative trigger, you know what I'm talking about. That like even just seeing their username or seeing them walk in their room, you're like, oh gosh, here they come. You know that you're going to have a negative trigger for whatever fabulousness that they have surrounding themselves right now. When you feel that negative trigger, seeing someone or something that typically has the ability to upset you, ask yourself why you are feeling upset. Ask yourself why. After you say, because they have something I don't have, ask yourself again, okay, I'm upset that they have something I don't have, or I'm upset that they've achieved something I have not yet. Okay, why does that actually upset me? Go deeper, continue to answer that question. Find as much information behind that as possible. Step number 2 is to determine if there is something about their situation that you wish was a part of your own. What's actually happening is it's not the person. There's a circumstance. There's a desirable item. There's a situation. There's something about what they've got going on that you go, God, that'd be cool. Okay, well, hello. If you actually think, God, that'd be cool, wouldn't that be important to unpack that? If you're like, I don't know what I want, but God, that'd be cool. Okay, well, let's keep track of that. Determine if there's something about their situation that you wish was a part of your own. Just know it. Just accept it. Just look at your wishes and your desires for what they are. Thank you, person A, for showing me this thing that I must care about so much, because every time I see you and the fact that you're sitting in that reality, I feel sad, but I'm also learning something about what I want. Step number 3, make a note of that desirability and then go ahead and ignore the person. You don't need to continue to see this person. You just needed the information that they were bringing you. This is the universe actually telling you, I'm, by the way, just putting this person in your face again because look what's possible. That's all that's actually happening. If you want to ignore that person because you're tired of feeling the negative and we need to stop that habit, we need to stop that ritual, that's fine. But take the good information first. Make a note of the positive that you want to take from it. You can mute that person. You can unfollow that person once you have that. You know what? The universe is trying to tell me that whatever this person's got going on is something that matters to me a lot, because otherwise I wouldn't feel feels about it. Write it down. We need to focus more of on the positive aspect of how our hearts are feeling pulled and focus less on the space of life is not fair or I'll never have it if I don't have it now. Author Amanda Frances said, judging people for having what you want is an effective way to judge yourself out of getting what you want. So when you are taking away from someone by feeling negative about them, when they have a situation that is desirable to you, you are actually inflicting that same energy on yourself. So let's take the positive energy that we're getting from that trigger and remove the rest. Where your focus goes is where energy is going to flow. We want that energy to go positive and not negative. Another negative tendency is jealousy. Jealousy is probably among the top of the feelings in the negative space we just discussed when it comes to comparison. But because you're going to focus on the positive and you just followed the steps I gave you, we're going to create a space for that jealousy to live that is somewhere productive. I want you to imagine the idea of a jealousy journal. Why? Sounds like so dumb, right? Like it sounds like, ew, I don't want to admit I have a jealousy journal. But I like the double J's and I think it's going to be really helpful. You can call it anything you want, but I personally have one. I have a jealousy journal. I want to know why I would have a feeling of jealousy at all time, because I also know that I am capable of so much. I also know I am capable of going after the life I want. So if I'm jealous of something, I need to know what it is so that I can unpack that. When you did step number 3 from before and you made a note of the desirability you felt, what you were doing was jealousy journaling. You were making a physical note of what you needed to know about that situation. Now, if you want to know what you want, this is an amazing way to literally spell it out. Write what you're jealous about. Stop resisting it because of some arbitrary reason you don't have it and that someone else does. If you would like society and old stories to dictate your future, that's all resisting is doing for you. Now, if you lean into what you're feeling jealous about and ask yourself what is the true desire of that feeling and write it down, you have a list in front of you of things you want. Over time, this list will grow the better you practice it. And sometimes you're going to come back and look and go, actually, I don't want that. Maybe I just felt it in that moment and I wrote it down, which was good. But over time and assessment and learning more about me, I don't actually want that. We can cross it off, no problem. You made yourself think you did because you saw how wonderful someone else's life was in that circumstance, maybe only out of the habit of being jealous and comparing. But when you unpack who you are, you can allow that thing to come off your list. The jealousy journal is so powerful, so powerful. It's giving you the answers you want and giving you the mental space of your own ideas to decipher their importance to you. If you're starting with a blank slate, with most of us are, right? What do you want? What do you want out of life? Amy? Well, if I haven't really done the self-discovery to figure that out, I'm going to not know. I'm going to say, I don't know, to be happy, like Beyonce said in that one song. That it's so hard to come up with the answer to that because we've not done the work to find it. And it's also really hard to actually say the words out loud because we're trying to still stay away from judgment because we value outside opinion of what we want too much as well. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of negative tendencies are wishes. Wishes, I think, are very powerful, but we typically use them in a negative sense, okay? Think first, what do you wish was different? You have permission to wish things were different. You have permission. It's okay that right now things are not the way you want them to be. Some might. Give credit where credit is due. But where is your stress? Because your stress has everything to do with what you wish were different. Okay? Instead of dwelling on that stress, on those things that you wish were different, use it as the catalyst to shift your vision to what would be better and attract that. Look at what you're saying when you say, I wish I wasn't, or I wish I didn't, and flip it around to, I wish I were, or I wish I would do, and finish those sentences. Flip the thoughts from a negative wish to a positive wish, and then use the positive connotation to indicate what you could do next. The first of which you've already started, and that's shifting your mental space to be more positive. When you replace I wish with I am and stand in that feeling that would be if your dreams were the case, you take yourself to a whole different level of attraction that actually tells the universe what it should be sending your way. So, comparison, jealousy, wishes, when used well, can tell us a lot about ourselves so we know what direction we need to head in. Maybe now you have an idea of what you want. My challenge to you is that you go for it without settling. I'll give you an example. I've been talking to my husband because we recently moved to Florida and I don't have a car yet. It's just, it's not really a priority. He's driving me everywhere in his car. It is what it is. But what is important to me is that I do have my own car because I hate the feeling of not having independence. And I quite frankly just don't enjoy driving his car. So I want that independence and I want to get the right vehicle for me, especially before I give birth to my baby girl, because I would like to know how to drive my new car before all these other new things are happening at the same time. And something we talked about was my dream car. I have one car that is just like my dream car that I probably could go get, but it's just not felt like the right energy. It's kind of like that dream that you're like, oh, I just love continuing to pine for it. And me not having it doesn't make me feel bad. It makes me feel driven. No pun intended. It's so silly. It's literally just, it's not like it's like a Lamborghini or anything. It's just a white Range Rover Sport, just because I like the way it looks. I don't even know if I like how it drives and I don't care. It's just the vision of like the dream car. And I've been talking to my husband. He's like, do you want to go look at it? And I was like, well, sure. Yeah, we could go look at it. Like that'd be fun to test drive it, kind of like wet the palate a little bit. And then we'll go on walks and we'll see other cars and we'll see other Land Rover vehicles. Like the Discovery, which is a perfectly good vehicle as well that Land Rover makes. But it's not my dream car. And it's nice. And it looks really similar, to be quite honest. But it doesn't say Range Rover on it. It says Discovery. And Discovery is a nice word, but it's not a Range Rover. So it's just not the dream car. And my husband's like, this is actually might be a nice car too. Like if you want something like this, we should look at this model too. And I just kind of looked at him and I said, yeah, no, thanks. I'm okay. like I've already got it in my head. I know exactly what I want. I want a Range Rover Sport. That's it. I'm either going to get the Range Rover Sport or I'm not going to get a Range Rover. Like that, I wouldn't go and gather up all my pennies to go buy this expensive car to walk away with the consolation prize from the same destination. I won't. Like I don't want that because it takes away from the goal being in my vision. It takes away from that journey. I'm going to go get some other random car that I don't have all these feelings about that probably isn't as expensive, and it just makes sense for now and reliability and all that happy stuff. I don't want to go on a car tirade. But the point is, I know what I want, and I'm not going to settle until I get it. So going into a situation where I could pick the dream, or I could pick door number 2 because it's also there and might be a little more affordable, it doesn't matter. It takes the entire dream out of it, and it takes my unrealistic goal that I absolutely freaking love, that gets me so excited, and poops on it because it's like I'm walking away with something else, not in the same energy that I'm attracting. Or at least that's how I see it now. Who knows? I could go to the car dealership and think, oh my God, turns out that's the way better vehicle. I changed my mind. It's all about what my energy is right now. So when you know what you want, don't settle. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm ever going to get that car again. I could pick a different one. It could change completely. I could never end up actually wanting to transact getting that car, but the vision of having it gets me excited, and it's something I love. And I'm like, that'd be really cool someday. That'd be really cool. It doesn't mean things don't change, but it gets me going every day. And because I have that drive and because I have that focus, I have that vision. And so many more amazing things are going to happen between now and that vision. Not to mention my past and that vision. I've wanted this car since I was like 16. I've wanted that car since I saw the OC. Let's be honest. Did anyone see the OC? That's literally it. And now I will look at the OC and I'm like, oh, I don't even like the model of Range Rover on that show. But don't settle. If we're supposed to love our life right now, be in the moment, be as connected to the universe and our source as much as possible right now, and be excited about the things we don't have yet, then we're certainly not going to settle on our way. But we are going to connect what we are energetically matched with along the way. And when we do finally encounter that beautiful day, that dream situation might happen. Focus on what you want and then go get it. No matter how long it takes. There's going to be distractions along the way and amazing other opportunities that come as well. That's the journey. What you want isn't just around you, it's inside of you. Just to close this out, I just want to share this. The challenge is actually listening to yourself so you know what you want. But if for now that's not obvious to you, these tactics we discussed are low-hanging fruit for your focus because your eyes have seen they are possible on some level. Your vision will grow as you do. Trust that you know yourself and the life you want. By not letting yourself at least have the dream and vision for an amazing life, you're reprimanding yourself for thinking that more is possible for you. You won't even let yourself have the idea, much less the result. Stop stopping yourself from knowing what you want and let it all in. Peel the negative garbage away and keep just the shiny diamond of self-discovery that you find in the middle. I hope this was a helpful start for your new year, especially as you're like, well, what are these resolutions? Are these goals? What do they mean to me? If you're in goal-getting mode, then I have another recommendation for you as well. I just started a new series on Amy TV. Surprise, surprise. It's called Good Morning, Good Life. The first episode is out now. It's about a 30-minute motivational call to helping you get back to you in 2022. I'll put the link in the show notes. We're switching to a different form over on Amy TV so that we can spend more time together to ponder these ideas and attract this positivity in our life and make big plans. And yeah, I think it's just going to be a nice way for us to convene on Sunday mornings in a really powerful way for you to change your life. So check that out. And if podcasts are more your thing, then you're going to love the reboot of Shine Squad. Shine Squad is back in 2022. You can join me every single morning. If you want to hear me talk like this every single morning for just a couple of minutes, 2 minutes, 2, 3, sometimes 4 minutes, to motivate you every morning, then I highly recommend you check out Shine Squad. All the details are at amytvshinesquad.com. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. I'll see you back here next Tuesday. Cheers.